Nestled in the heart of Hampshire, the Test Valley is a place of rare beauty and ecological significance. Its chalk streams, fed by natural springs, are a sanctuary for wildlife and a vital resource for the community. But this delicate ecosystem faces growing challenges. Nitrate pollution from a combination of sources, including agriculture, threatens these pristine waters, impacting biodiversity and water quality. Agriculture plays a critical role, not only as a source of nitrates, but also as an important steward of the land. Here, farmers are working to protect what makes the Test Valley special, pioneering innovative techniques to preserve its balance, its beauty, and its future.
Well, I think farming is important in Test Valley because Test Valley is a large rural borough. Around a quarter of our population lives in rural areas. And there's been increased scrutiny in recent years in terms of food security, especially in terms of supporting UK farmers. And of course, without farmers, we don't have food. So it's really important that we support them, not just nationally, but here locally in Test Valley too.
And what was important for the Borough Council is working with the agricultural sector and the farming industries to understand what we can do to make improvements to current practices. What we were trying to do was trying to find different schemes that were out in Test Valley about demonstrating different techniques to make improvements to agricultural practices, not only for economic reasons, but also in terms of work practices and where there's other stackable benefits like improvements to the environment.
Using UK shared prosperity funding, Test Valley Borough Council partnered with IncuHive on an exciting pilot project aimed at reducing the carbon footprint by bringing innovation to local farming. Their mission? To uncover groundbreaking practices that could benefit farmers across the area. The idea was simple: test innovative ideas, provide council funding to accelerate progress, and, if successful, share the results to inspire confidence and adoption by others. IncuHive initially worked with 5 farms, exploring a variety of sustainable techniques. These included agroforestry systems that combine trees and crops, an on-site pyrolysis plant to create biochar, and 2 projects testing cutting-edge fertilization methods to reduce nitrate inputs.
And the issue with nitrates is something that is in everyone's mind at the moment, both the water industry, our communities, and what we wanted to do through this project is to understand whether there's any ways that we could improve nitrate use through fertiliser to reduce that impact on the River Test.
The project was backed by a £20,000 grant from the Shared Prosperity Fund, looking to support one of these farms to help fund their project. The innovative projects from the 5 different farms were pitched to a panel that included Test Valley Borough Council and the National Farmers Union. After careful review, 2 standout projects were chosen as winners instead of just one. To support their potential, the council boosted the funding with an extra £5,000, bringing the total to £25,000. The 2 nitrate-reducing projects received £25,000, paving the way for groundbreaking advancements in sustainable farming.
So the nitrates issue in Test Valley is something that affects actually a number of areas. It's not unique to Test Valley. It's the impact on the Solent, and it comes from various different sources, agriculture just being one of them.
As the farming consultant working with IncuHive, it was my job to bring together the projects. It was good news when I actually selected 2 projects, because initially it was just for one. So this gave us the opportunity to look at farmers reducing nitrates, but actually in 2 different ways of doing it. The first one was Goddards farm near Wallop, and the second was Michelmersh Manor farm just outside Romsey.
Goddards farm in the Wallops has been in the Futcher family since 1958. It's 160 acres of mainly grassland supporting store cattle following the end of dairying. Goddards farm collaborated with Apsley Farms and the MAD company to improve the soil health using an organic additive, MAD moisture, thereby improving the plant's ability to uptake moisture and nutrients.
MAD stands for Make a Difference, and we are here introducing one of our new formulations to a maize crop. So in this field today, we're standing on around a 20-hectare field. Half of it has already been planted by the farmer in a traditional way. What we're doing on the other side of the field, with the 10 hectares that we've got to play with, half of it's been seeded simultaneously with our product at 20 kilograms per hectare. The second half of it is going to be seeded at 30 kilograms per hectare. So what we'll end up with is a control, because this side has been planted in a traditional way, and we'll also end up with 2 levels of concentration here, which we can measure the results.
Apsley Farms harvests maize, oats or rye from its own farm, plus 40 other farms, and feeds them into a huge biogas plant which breaks them down to produce gas and carbon dioxide, plus fertiliser and compost as byproducts. The MAD company works in partnership with world-leading experts in the agricultural and horticultural sectors, as well as everyday consumers, to provide organic, plant-based, carbon-neutral solutions to the problems facing British agriculture and horticulture.
Everything we do is plant-based, so everything we make is made by plants for plants.
The product MAD Moisture is a 100% organic, carbon-neutral, water-retaining granule. It includes seaweed extract, which is packed with natural growth hormones, minerals and vitamins essential for plant health. This combination stimulates root growth, enhances stress tolerance and strengthens overall plant health. Michelmersh Manor Farm is a family-run mixed arable dairy and sheep farm. The farm was set up in 1983, the family having relocated from London. Currently milking 300 cows on 5 robotic milking machines. A flock of 200 ewes are lambed over the Easter period. Various crops are grown throughout the year, adding a mosaic of scenery. Michelmersh Farm collaborated with Dale Oak. Based in Hampshire, Dale Oak specialises in the manufacture of controlled release nitrogen and humate foliar fertiliser from Humusert, which are supplied to the agricultural industry.
We farm approximately 550 acres. We've adopted regenerative farming practices over the last 2 to 3 years. Generally, nitrogen rates have been slashed by up to 2/3.
Project 2 at Michelmersh Manor Farm was about testing a foliar liquid nitrogen feed as opposed to the usual granular application. And the difference here, it was on a grass crop for silage. Foliar feed is used traditionally for sort of maize, or quite well tested for maize and other higher value crops, but never for grass. So it was a product supplied by Dale Oak, a local company. And the way we tested it was to have 2 plots side by side, one with a control using the existing granular application that the farm used, and a trial plot used the liquid foliar feed.
It's the efficiency of the product where you make the gains. So traditional product, a soil applied ammonium nitrate. So for example, the application that's made on this field conventionally would be about 80 kilos of nitrogen supplied from ammonium nitrate. Whereas we'd be looking to maybe apply 20 kilos of nitrogen from foliar nitrogen applications. So you're applying much less nitrogen at a higher efficiency. You don't need to apply as much fertiliser when you're making a foliar application.
We use the grass for our forage crops going to the dairy, for the dairy cows. We have about 200 acres of choppable forage grass. We are trying to reduce our costs in fertiliser and try it and come to a greener, better farming practice with less fertilisers, more accuracy in doing so.
A few weeks have passed since the trials began, and the fields in Nether Wallop are showing the first signs of progress. Tim Brock is back on site to monitor the crops and see how the innovations are taking root.
Yes, on this lovely day in July we are now. This is the first time back. We've had some satellite images done since, so we could see there was things growing. So it's really just to come out to correlate what the satellite was telling us to what's actually on the ground. And then we've also got soil, SOYL, soil scientist with us to also actually have a look a bit deeper.
Back to Project 2, we returned to Michelmersh Manor Farm to have a look at the grass trials pre-harvest.
After 5 months of careful growth, the maize at Goddards farm was ready for harvest. Using precision technology, the yields were mapped directly by the harvesters, giving invaluable insights into the performance of the treated and controlled plots. At Michelmersh Manor Farm, the grass was harvested 3 weeks after spraying with the foliar fertiliser. For testing, 3 1-metre plots were carefully cut and bagged from both the treated and control plots. These samples were sent off for analysis to compare nutrient content and yield efficiency.
We've now taken the grass samples from the field. We have well over a dozen bagged samples from different trial plots, different areas, and that will have different analysis performed on them. We send them over to Kingshay for analysis. It's also important to get the grass to them as soon as possible for analysis. so that the grass is still good quality. We'll have all the data back and we'll be able to have a look at it and really be able to analyse the specifics of how the grass reacted to the fertilisers.
After weeks of trials, countless observations and careful harvesting, the results are finally in. So, did the innovations deliver on their promise?
But at the moment, we have seen higher yield from the plots with most of the MAD product, so that's really promising. It also seems to have had a slightly better nutrient uptake for nitrogen, so yeah, it's looking promising. Even going to see the plots as it was growing,
we could see the difference between the control crops and the ones that had 20% and the ones that had 30%, so there was a difference there.
With such promising results from the first trial, the big question remained: how would the second farm measure up?
So the results are interesting, really are quite similar, and that's based on the farm standard receiving just over 85 kilos of nitrogen per hectare. Foliar treatment plot provided 25 kilos of nitrogen per hectare, so less than a third the amount was received by the grass with the foliar treatment. But actually the results weren't dissimilar. It shows that farmers can use the different, I guess, more modern ways of applying nitrogen to fields, particularly grass crops. Foliar application of nitrogen, far more efficient than soil applied nitrogen, so you can effectively use less nitrogen and gain very similar results.
I think the main thing for us is we're all about sustainability and trying to do things in the best possible way. We'd always encourage others to keep doing that as well. So the less artificial fertiliser we can put on crops, obviously that means it's cheaper to grow, but also has less environmental impact. So if we can use natural products and do it to the benefit of the crop, then that's even better.
What any farmer wants to do is cut a bit of cost. And if I can grow maize without having quite so much farming manure on it and using this product and get the same result, well then, that's a bonus.
The trials have proven what's possible: less nitrogen, more efficiency, and a brighter future for farming in Test Valley and beyond. But this is just the beginning. These findings have the potential to impact farming across the region.
We'd love to carry on and do more trials with the product. I think we've got a lot of lessons to learn from this first one, but I think it's shown enough potential that it could be really exciting.
So I saw it in the results, there wasn't a huge amount of difference in the grass, however it was a lot greener. Yeah, so the costs are higher, but the overall results were a lot better. Yes, yeah, it's still something we're definitely going to take on and carry on using. But yeah, if we can do it, I'm sure anybody else can.
Looking forward, the council would see this piece of work as just the start of being able to show what is possible through different techniques, through the use of different equipment, and using this experiment to see what is possible and rolling out not just for those farmers within the borough and within Hampshire, but across the country.
While this is only the beginning, the early results have been promising. At Michelmersh Manor Farm, the success of foliar fertilisers has sparked a desire to expand the trials and explore the full potential of this groundbreaking technique. Over on Goddards Farm, the introduction of the seaweed-containing fertiliser may offer long-term benefits to the soil, paving the way for a more sustainable future. This pilot project has been a fascinating collaboration, and we hope it inspires other farmers to explore these innovative solutions. Together, we can protect our landscapes, our waters, and our future.